Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. We'll just give it a few minutes for people to sign in, and we'll get started in a little bit. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started with this info session for our newly admitted MEng students. This info session is specifically for IEOR MEng students, so we just want to make that clear. If you're in a different department, just FYI, this is for the Industrial Engineering and Operations Research Master of Engineering students. All right. So just some quick introductions. My name is Erica, and I'm one of the Grad Student Services Advisors in IEOR. So I work with the MEng students as well as our other graduate programs. I'm also joined today by Jenny and Heather. Heather is our Graduate Student Services Manager, and Jenny is our Student Services Advisor and also our Events Coordinator. So they will be helping out with answering questions. So with that, I want to invite you, if you have questions during this info session, please go ahead and drop those in the Q&A. So please use the Q&A feature of this Zoom meeting, Zoom webinar to pose your questions. And we will be using the chat to be dropping in links. So we just don't want the questions to get lost in the chat. All right. And then I also want to introduce some faculty. Professor Adler, he is our head MEng advisor. So I'm going to pass it over to you for our little welcome.
Hi all. As you see, my name is Ilan Adler. I'm professor many years in the department, and I'm with this program in all of its years, about 15 years right now. And I'm the head program advisor, and I'll be available to answer questions at the end of the session.
Thank you, Professor Adler. And I also want to introduce Professor Zhang.
Hi, my name is Li-Zeng Zhang, and I joined Berkeley in 2020. Before I joined Berkeley, I was a practitioner in financial industry. We will have plenty of time to interact with each other, and I will talk more about myself in the fintech breakout area.
Thank you. So Li Zhang works with our FinTech students. So yes, we'll be talking a little bit more after this main session ends, specifically for our FinTech students in a little bit. And then I also want to highlight Professor Guo here on this page. She is our department chair, and she also works with our FinTech students. All right, to keep going here. So yeah, one more time, I just want to say congratulations on your admission to our IEOR Master of Engineering program. We're so excited for you, and we're hope that you choose to come to Berkeley, and we'll kind of go through some different things that we have to offer here at Berkeley. But please, like I said, if you have any questions, drop those in the Q&A, and we hope to help you, make a decision. All right, so Berkeley is located in the San Francisco Bay Area, and you might already be aware of this, but that is the center for innovation in a variety of different fields, such as high tech, data analytics, healthcare, and design. And you can see right here, this is our Campanile. It's right across from San Francisco, so you can see kind of like the view there to the city of San Francisco across the bay. And then we're going to watch a quick little video here, just talking a little bit more about UC Berkeley.
Berkeley, a place filled to the brim with people pushing at the edges of what's possible in science, engineering, politics, arts, culture, history, social discourse, quantum field theory, Mark Twain's missives. You name it, we're doing it. Reimagining what's possible in every field you can think of. Here, there are no followers. You see, we can't afford to wait. We will not hit the pause button because the world needs the results of our collective thinking, and it needs it now. Each day we deal in the impossible, the unthinkable, the unknowable. You'll never do that. We just did. That takes a willingness to explore things from a new angle, every angle, over and over and over again. We have little use for the tried and true. The status quo has no place here. We redefine it constantly, loudly, definitively. Our reach is multinational, cross-cultural, and interdisciplinary. We will not be limited by small thinking or large distances. We reach beyond our campus gate, beyond what anyone expects, beyond what's been done before. It's our job to shape the future. That's why we reach further. This is Berkeley.
All right. A little bit more about Berkeley. So UC Berkeley's has a long-standing Nobel Prize-winning legacy, so beginning in the 1930s and continuing to now. So we have, by our count, UC Berkeley's count, there are 63 UC Berkeley Nobelists, and you can feel free to check out the link in the chat to learn more about those Nobelists. All right, some more things about Berkeley, and also specifically moving into the industrial engineering department. So we are the #1 public university according to U.S. News and World Report rankings. And we also, the College of Engineering here at UC Berkeley is the #3 engineering college. And then also our department, the industrial engineering department, is the #3 industrial engineering department. So we are very proud of our rankings here. And a little bit more about our IEOR history. So we started as a division of the mechanical engineering department back in 1954, and then established as a department of industrial engineering in 56. And if you move down a little bit more here, you can see that in the more recent history that we had our first bachelor students in operations research and management science in 2006. And then we had our first class of Master of Engineering students, so y'all's program, in 2010. And then we recently started our Master of Analytics program, which had our first class in 2022. And then we've recently renamed our ORMS bachelor's program to the BA in Analytics. So we keep expanding, keep growing in the IEOR department. Also want to highlight George Danzig. So he was a UC Berkeley alum and also an early member of the UC Berkeley IEOR faculty. In UC Berkeley, in our department, the IEOR department, there are a variety of different research areas, from optimization algorithms to ML and data science, stochastic modeling, robotics, supply chain, financial systems, energy, healthcare, transportation analytics as well. So if you're curious about learning more about what our faculty are researching, we definitely encourage you to check out this website. We're going to drop the link in the chat here. And we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but a lot of our electives kind of will be in a variety of different fields as well, kind of like representing these different things that you see on this slide. All right, so a little bit more about this degree. It's a one-year full-time degree. So 1 year meaning fall and spring semesters. So, and it's geared towards students, seeking industry. So specifically with a leadership focus. This program has a leadership focus, and we'll get more into that in just a second. All right, so the GPA, the minimum is 3.0, and then the minimum units per semester is 12, so 12 in the fall and 12 in the spring for the minimum. And then for total units, the degree requirement is 25 units, and then 12 of those will be within IEOR. Of those IEOR units, 240, which is an optimization course, and 241, which is stochastic modeling course, those are both required. And then students will take 2 additional IEOR electives as well. Now for FinTech, we'll talk a little bit more because they do have some additional requirements. So we'll get to that in just a second. As far as comprehensive exams, there are 2. There's a technical exam that's based on the optimization and stochastic courses. And then there's also a leadership exam, which is based on the leadership coursework. And then there's also a capstone. So the capstone course runs from the fall into the spring as well. So it goes all year long. And then just as a reminder, this program is currently a lockstep 2-semester program, so it's just the fall and spring semesters with students graduating in May. If you're curious more about a breakdown of each of these items, we will talk more about this in just a second, but you can check out our handbook for more details and a lot of other things like links and helpful resources. So we'll drop that in the chat as well. All right, so when you received your offer, your recommendation to admission letter, you should have seen what your concentration is. So you should either be management science and engineering. You might also hear this called MSE, and you also might hear this called like the general track. Those are all the same thing. So it's all the management science and engineering, and that's our kind of like general kind of concentration, which most students are involved. And then we also have our FinTech concentration. So you can see here the FinTech concentration prepares students for career in financial tech companies. And if you want more information about the different concentrations, we're dropping a link in the chat as well for that. But like we mentioned earlier, if you are going to be in the FinTech concentration, we will provide more information at the end of this general session. All right, so a little breakdown of what's required for each concentration. So for the management science and engineering, the general concentration, and also for FinTech, both of them, again, taking that optimization course, taking that risk modeling, simulation, and data analysis course. And then for MSc, 2 additional tech electives are required, and we'll talk more about some what our tentative list of electives will be for next year in just a little bit. But for FinTech, students will be taking an additional fall course. They'll take our 290 Applications of Machine Learning and Electronic Market course. And then they need to choose 2 from this list here. So our financial engineering kind of grouping. So a few different options, or to take the kind of as a second part to our our machine learning course. And then just as a quick note too, that these courses do need to be taken for a letter grade, and essentially the entire degree, so all of the coursework, not just the IEOR coursework, but all coursework does need to be taken for a letter grade. All right, so like I mentioned, these are some of our sample technical electives. These are what we plan to offer for the fall and the spring of next year. This is our tentative list. So some financial engineering options, supply chain. We have revenue management as well as machine learning options. And then also healthcare analytics, transportation analytics, and others as well. If you'd like to know more information about these courses that we have listed, please do check out the course catalog. We're going to drop that in the chat so you can see more details, kind of like course summaries and things like that there. All right, so earlier I mentioned that there are 2 comprehensive exams. The first exam is the technical exam. So it's based on IEOR coursework, specifically 240, the optimization course, and 241, the stochastic modeling course. And this is a requirement to pass this exam for all IEOR MEng students. And it's an exam that's taken at the end of the fall semester. So kind of like after those courses, the content ends for those courses. All right, so moving away from the IEOR technical coursework, we're going to talk more about the other components of the MEng degree. So like I said earlier at the beginning, that this degree does focus on leadership. So you will be taking leadership coursework. So these are the courses listed here that are required for the leadership piece of the degree and also need to be taken for a letter grade. So some of them are taken in the fall and some of them are taken in the spring. You can find out more information about these courses at the link here. And I also encourage you to attend the other info sessions that are held by the Fung Institute. So we partner with the Fung Institute here on campus, and they help run the leadership and capstone pieces of the Master of Engineering program. So you probably have been receiving emails from them and talking about their different info sessions and offerings that they have for incoming students. So please do, talk to the Fung Institute, and also, feel free to attend their info sessions as well to learn more about the leadership and capstone piece. All right, so we have the technical comprehensive exam, and then we also have the leadership comprehensive exam. So this exam happens during the spring semester, and the Fung Institute helps organize this, but it is an individual oral exam that's based on the capstone and leadership experience in the program. So passing both parts of the exam is required to receive the degree. All right, and then the last piece, so we have the technical electives, we have the leadership piece, and then we also have the capstone piece. So students are required to complete a capstone project, and this helps students to integrate their, their leadership, the things they've learned in their leadership classes, along with gaining experience, in an industrial setting. So students do need to enroll in coursework that is associated with these with the capstone project, and this is letter graded coursework. There's one course in the fall and then one course in the spring, and it kind of is a continuation. There is a specific capstone for our FinTech students, so I'm sure Li Zheng will talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. And if you'd like to learn more about the capstone, just generally speaking, we have information here in the chat, so please check that out. Well, coming in the chat, just a second. Thank you, Jenny. All right, so these are just some sample projects of some things that students have been working on. So you can see it's a wide variety of industrial experience that students can get in a bunch of different fields. So you'll find out more about the capstone piece through the Fung Institute, and likely towards the end of the summer, where they start doing the kind of the placement for people into different capstones. All right, and then the other thing I want to highlight that the Fung Institute offers is career development. So they have a MEng career development team, so specifically for MEng students, and they provide a lot of different resources. So you can see those resources listed here. You can also feel free to check out our employment data, and that employment data is broken down by the different departments. So you can see specifically what IEOR's employment data looks like. But again, this is run through the Fung Institute, so I'm sure they're offering, like additional information through the info sessions that they're also, having today and this week. So please do plan to attend those if you're able to, and then, reach out to us if you have any questions about the different pieces that, are part of this program. Another thing the Fung Institute offers is affinity groups. So these are a way to kind of help you find community in the Master of Engineering program. These are different groups, kind of like community groups that have common interests, common goals. So these are some examples here of different groups that have been formed in the past. So these offer career-focused programs and events in a space to kind of like, build community, learn more about each other. And they're not just limited to, IEOR students. It's also, from students from other departments, so other engineering departments that are part of the Master of Engineering program. So it's a chance to kind of branch out to other and, meet people from other departments as well. If you'd like more information about those, feel free to check out the links in the chat. Definitely encourage you to get involved that way. Now, outside of MEng, you can feel free to get involved on campus as well. So if you just kind of like zoom out to UC Berkeley as a whole, there's lots of different opportunities for students. We're dropping a link in the chat to the different student groups, student organizations on campus. But there's also our CalRec Sports Center, that offers a variety of different opportunities. So a variety of different opportunities from intramural sports to fitness classes. They have a nice gym. And then also, as far as student groups are concerned, there's a lot of different opportunities on campus, a lot of different groups that you can join, or maybe even create one of your own if you can't find something that you're interested in. And then also just like different things on campus, such as like sporting events, games, like football games, like you can see here, probably like a pep rally, as well as something I like on campus a lot is the Greek Theater, which is like a venue That's actually where our students graduate. Like it's our commencement ceremony is held there. But that venue offers a lot of different concerts throughout the year. So I really enjoy going to the Greek Theater and listening to music. All right. Also, we have a lot of different support options held, at UC Berkeley through our graduate division. So our graduate division supports students not just within IEOR or within the College of Engineering, but also all grad students on campus. So they offer, they have the Office of Graduate Diversity. They have a professional development office that runs regular programming, everything from like workshops to help, with maybe non-technical skills, different events and things to help improve those professional skills. And then they also have a graduate student instructor, teaching and resource center if anyone's interested in a student appointment. So graduate student instructors, they might also be called teaching assistants. So you might hear both of those terms. But if you're interested in employment through a student appointment, they have a really nice teaching and resource center to support instructors. And then also they have a graduate student life division, so they can offer different opportunities for students. So please do check out their website to learn more about the different opportunities that they have. All right, and then another thing I just want to point out, so referring back to our graduate student handbook, we have a variety of different resources listed here too. It's kind of like a one-stop place for everything that you might need. So if you're curious about housing, if you're an international student and you haven't already, learned about the Berkeley International Office, we have links there. They are helpful for anything visa-related, any visa-related questions. And then the Disabled Students Program, we also call that DSP. But if you need accommodations to be successful in your classes, so please reach out to the Disabled Students Program. We also have University Health Services, and that includes our counseling and psychological services as well. We have Berkeley Career Engagement. So you have career services that are offered through the Fung Institute, but you also have Berkeley Career Engagement, which is kind of like a central hub on campus for career resources. So you also have access to them. And then there also are campus safety services, especially if you have concerns about walking around at night. There are a variety of different safety services. And then feel free to check out other services as well that we offer. Again, please look at the handbook and kind of, you can search through all the different things that are offered here on campus. All right, so we just want to touch on a couple things specifically for international students. I know we already mentioned the Berkeley International Office. You might also hear us call it BIO. That's kind of like the short way of saying that. But they are our office on campus that work with international students with all things visa related. So if you are, if you haven't already been in contact with them, I'm sure you will be soon. But speaking just generally about international students, all of our grad programs here in IEOR are designated STEM. We want to make a quick note about CPT if you're interested in that. So our program, the Master of Engineering program, does not have an internship as a degree requirement. So we do not approve CPT during the academic year, so during the fall and the spring. However, if you're interested in OPT for after you graduate, please do look on the Berkeley International Office's website to find out more about that. And you can also see eligibility information there as well. So I encourage you to go ahead and look into that if that's something that applies to you. All right, kind of wrapping up here, talking about if you're wanting to accept your offer. There is a two-step process to secure your spot in our cohort. So please do submit your reply to offer admission form. You can also, I think we're going to drop the link in the chat here to the application portal, so you can feel free to go there as well. But so you'll need to do that step as well as submit the deposit. So both of those steps do need to be done by April 15th. So both of those together, please have those completed by April 15th. I just want to note, because some people are a little bit worried, but when you submit that reply to offer form, it sometimes can take a little bit of time before you're able to access the deposit, the place to submit your deposit. So just note that it can be a little bit of time there. So don't worry, but do plan ahead there. Yeah, we just dropped the admissions portal login in the chat. All right, and then we just want to save some dates here for you. I know that, like I mentioned earlier, the Fung Institute is doing some programming this week, so please do feel free to attend that programming. There's an on-campus visit as well happening tomorrow. So if you haven't received any information about that, hopefully you have, but if you have any questions about that, please let us know and we can point you in the right direction. And then again, the April 15th deadline to accept your offer and to pay the deposit. And then August 10 will be the new student orientation. And then we will start the boot camp, the leadership boot camp in August as well. Then the fall semester officially begins on the 26th. Now, if you do have questions about the boot camp specifically, please note that the Fung Institute does organize the boot camps. So we have limited information here. So I definitely would encourage you to reach out to the Fung Institute if you have questions specifically about the boot camp, about those dates, or if you know about how the format of the boot camp and things like that. The Fung Institute would be the best contact to ask about that. So maybe we can get a link in the chat as well to their contact information.